Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Mary Harlan, Mobility Coordinator with RAFTA. Oh, how about, has Jen Uten gone?
I haven't. Hi everybody, Jen Uten, City of Aspen. And Lynn and Trish are not able to join today, so just listening in. Thanks so much. Oh, and I'll pass it to Roland.
Good morning, Roland Wagner, Region 3 Central Program Engineer, and I'll pass it to Eva.
Hi, Eva Wilson, Town of Avon. I'll pass it to Tanya.
Tanya Allen, Executive Director of Core Transit. I will pass it to Jared.
Thanks, Tanya. Jared Barnes, Planning Director, Town of Carbondale. I will pass it to Catherine.
Hi, I'm Catherine Kristoff, the Town Engineer for Basalt, and I'll pass it to Zach.
Oh, I think Zach already went. I think Medora might be the last one.
Hi all, Medora Bornhoft with Main Streets and Active Transportation at CDOT.
Anyone else on the phone?
Thank you. Thanks thank you all. Are there any public comments? Anybody from the public about their? Going to give us no comments. In the room. Last staff meeting was canceled. First staff, so. Beyond that, I'd like to. Break all that. All right, I haven't seen this already. Bring all the long time employees of the county of Louisville. That's a site that's in actively participating in this group many years. Was out in the looking at me. Yeah. The active works. Been attending this quite a while now. Greg was one of the original members here. Legislation passed that one was tonight. We can look at the member about private interaction, knowledge, and it's nothing to replace that. He almost came, but he doesn't. Something sharing conflict break was hired by the same gentleman, guy named Stan Berry. Stan worked for the town of Dale. Greg and I shared a lot of stories with Stan. Tell you a little bit about Stan. My second interview was at a bar with 2 different. So things were done a little differently back then. And Stan, machine. What is correct? No, on to do let's look at the meeting minutes from April, and people have some comments or corrections. Otherwise, there are motion to approve. So, take second. Right, further discussion. On the approving the minutes made roll by 6 by saying aye. Aye.
Is that better, guys, online?
Challenge the meeting.
It's a little better. It's pretty garbled.
Yeah.
Are you guys using the sound from the computer? I'm just wondering if it has the room dampening on, which then makes
No,
it
we're using an owl. We can all hear
Okay.
you guys great. Is the microphone not better?
It's not better.
Dana, you sound really clear. It was Brian and some of the other members of the room that seemed really difficult to hear.
That's why I
It's
was
on the
wondering
owl.
if the owl was even picking up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's on there. It's not really loud.
Well, maybe I'm just thinking about this number.
They can come closer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we can do it.
It's not loud in the mic.
Yeah, so the next thing on the agenda is to update IGAs, which have been sent around a couple months ago, meetings ago. And they are all completed except two. And so this is the public shaming time for two jurisdictions that don't have completed Linden Springs.
Go ask Stone time. Not enough to house to sign or send. So I've asked him 5 or 6 times, I've done, just asking him.
So, okay, if we can help you with that, I'll be glad to, sure, glad to make a phone call. Go for it, go about me. So there's that in Montezuma, so we'll be, reaching out to Montezuma. No,
I was like, oh, yeah, they're on there too.
so there's 3. Got,
Sorry.
yeah. All right, so you're on. How's it getting done?
Ours will improve, this hasn't been physically signed and sent to.
Okay.
Our next meeting will be on June. Jesse, I don't, you're gonna take this, this next item or it's. It's in your. So the CDOT update is still, on again.
Medora, are you covering for Phil for updates on the draft transit plan?
Oh, this is Spencer. I can give a brief update on the draft regional plan. Is that what we're discussing now?
Can you talk loud, Spencer?
Sorry, can you guys hear me in the room?
You're kind of like garbled. It's fine. Just do your best.
Okay, I can rejoin if you guys aren't able to hear me, but the main note is that with the draft Intermountain Regional Transportation Plan, that will be going to public review period beginning in August. So for any further comments or feedback that people have on the plan, there will be a full month period in the month of August for people to give feedback on the plan. That's the main update that we have. We'll be sharing the results from the telephone town hall and the statewide plan survey at the next Intermountain TPR meeting. So we'll be able to give a full overview of all the public comments and feedback and some of the general views on the transportation system from the Intermountain region then. Thanks. Is there any other topics that people in the room wanted me to touch on?
Any questions about the draft plan?
I'm sorry, I'm unable to hear that.
Just asked if there are any questions.
Ah.
Draft plan. We'll keep going then. And
Thank you.
next up is in the left, the funding update with Michael Snow.
Michael is unable to join at the moment, but this is Medora Bornhoft, and I can cover for this topic. Is my audio coming through okay?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Well, let me find the screen share.
I got it up for you, Medora.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Thank you very much. A lot of this we've covered in previous meetings, so I'm going to go fairly quick, but happy to come back if there are any questions. So go to the next slide. You can advance down. There we go. Okay. So we've had some reductions in the MMOF pool, and at the time of the April 18th decision by the Intermountain TPR, we knew there was a reduction, but the exact amount wasn't fully determined at that point. So we made some conservative reductions so that Avon's project and Parachute's project could proceed with reduced award amounts. So as a reminder, the Avon project had a total of $3 million that had been awarded over 2 different decision periods from Intermountain for a total of $3 million. And Parachutes was awarded originally $425, and that was reduced down to $325 due to this reduction in the overall pool from the legislature's take back. Next slide. So since that meeting, we did some additional reconciliation and found some additional funds available for Intermountain, which is $130,918, that bullet point at the very end of the slide. The next slide. The point of this slide is that remaining $130,918 that we've identified can be allocated to the existing projects in Intermountain TPR. I think the rest of the detail on this slide we can come back to if there are questions, but otherwise let's skip ahead. And let's skip this one. Oh, hi, Michael. We're just going through this slide.
Yeah, good morning.
Yeah, I'll just keep going with this. Go to the next slide, please. So this slide is showing some of the existing projects that will have their funding moved to future years to show how the funds available in each year are allocated to the projects, but this really has a very limited impact on the projects themselves. They can still advance with those future year funds as if they are current year funds. So go ahead to the next slide.
You know, something that is not right with my computer. Not it? That's all.
One more slide.
I don't know.
There you go. Okay, so the key question here for Intermountain today is that additional funds that we have identified, they could be used to backfill the reductions that were made to the Avon project and the Parachute project by providing some of the additional funds back to those projects that were reduced with the April decision. And so for the Avon project, that would mean an additional $80,920, which you can see a bit in that column fiscal year 29, increasing the amount that's currently in there of $474,000 up to $555,000. And for the Parachute project, an additional $50,000 could be provided, increasing that award from $325 up to $375. So the decision in front of Intermountain today is if you want to provide some additional funding to those 2 projects, or if you want to leave those funds that are available to Intermountain unallocated at this time and revisit it at a future point, and those funds can be allocated at a later date. So with that, I'll turn it back and see if there are any questions.
We machines, machine numbers. Basically, we like the money that. Greater margin. But I'll just add, with regard to anyone, they were both very cooperative in this first few months. There was no argument, they wanted to release their.
No one can hear you. Talk loud, because the microphone's closer. Or come over here.
Yeah. So. No. But you get the point, which is, my point is. I am supporting this recommendation from CDOT just because both Avon and Parachute were cooperative in reducing that grant allocation issue.
Brian, I have a question, also, looking really, I think, didn't the Avon project go to bad, and if so, do we know what? I'm just wondering how they came out with the budget and how much money they had left over.
So, Eva, the question is, have you bid out the project, and if you have, how did the bids come in for the project in question? It's using these rates. You need the money.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Great. The question was a little muffled. If I understand the question is, how did the bids come out and if we need the money?
Yes.
Yeah, so the bids came in higher, and we could use the funds.
Was the question posed to? I think we'll take a formal vote to go ahead and redistribute these funds from the union. Any questions? Okay.
Yeah, so,
And
for, I guess, Michael, how's the distribution of the new funding determined? Because it's not half and half.
I'm sorry, how is the distribution of what?
Of the found money determined.
The found money, you're talking about the difference between what we had estimated at 500K back in April versus the resulting amount? Is that?
No, the 130.
Yeah, so how did you determine the ratio of distribution for the 130?
Gotcha. So I think you're referring to, why are we suggesting adding 50K back to Parachute and 80,000 back to Avon?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, there's no rhyme or reason to that. And so that's just a suggestion. It was partly what was left in the fiscal years. There was exactly 50,000 left over in 28 and the 80,920 and 29. And so I had to suggest something. It can be distributed amongst those two projects, however you decide is most appropriate.
I have a quick question for Parachute. I know when we were at the juncture of trying to figure out how to take care of the reduction, they were going out with their bids. So I don't know I can't see who's representing Parachute. How did you guys do? Do you guys need more money? We want to make sure you guys are good.
Well, Parachute actually, the amount of money wasn't going to cover the design work that we were putting out to bid anyway. So we knew we were going to be funding some of it ourselves. We actually just sent out our invitation to negotiate with heirs. We settled on final design group. So we're moving forward regardless, but certainly we could use the money because we were going to fall short of our needs anyways. So that's kind of where we're at.
Hey, Vinny, does the 50 get you to where you need to be?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question clearly.
No. Maybe she's right. Hey, Vinny, does the 50,000 that is being suggested, does that get you guys where you need to be to get out and get that design work done?
It's still fairly garbled. I might need Dana to translate for me.
Is the 50 going to be enough to get you to where you can get this project done?
It'll certainly help. You know, we're still going to be short, even if we got the full 100 back, we were going to be a bit short, but we were prepared for that. So the 50 would definitely help.
And, Michael, what's the available funds again? 100 what?
Yeah, it's 130,920.
Yeah. I think it would be fine if can you use all that, Vinny? The 136? I'm sorry, 130,000?
We could use it all, but I think we'd be more comfortable if we just got back to the 100 that we agreed to reduce to begin with. You know, in the interest of kind of being consistent with what was originally decided. So Travis might kill me for, giving up on an extra 30,000 that we weren't expecting, but he'll have to catch me first.
I think we would be supportive to make Parachute whole, and we'll take the remainder to balance out our shortfall.
Okay, if I hear and understand, that would mean that let's see. So if somebody could just do the math and do 474,611, adding 30,920 to that, that'll give you the proposed amount in FY29 for the Avon project. And then you would put an additional 50,000. So down on the option 2 line, I guess it would actually be option 3 now. So for Parachute, they would also have 50,000 in FY29. And that would bring their total back up to the original 425. And it would bring Avon's total to 2,630,920.
Yeah, we would be, yeah, the shortfall from the original grant would be 370,000.
Okay, did everybody get the math on that? Just want to make sure. Just sounds like Avon and Parachute are cut a side deal. So I mean, the rest of us really, yeah. I do have a question. Yeah,
that's great. Eva, I appreciate the gesture. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we're very appreciative of Parachute.
Yeah, thank you.
So the question, Michael, does this decision today impact Lake County at all with their funding?
It does not. Yeah, so yeah, on the previous slide, those amendments, they don't change dollar amounts, and it won't affect any of their planned. It doesn't affect any current phases that they might have underway currently. I would have to turn to Mark and or Jason to speak to their current planned advertisement dates. I'm not familiar with all the different phases of all the projects, but we had kind of gone through this whole slate of projects, and our proposal didn't pose any issues for any of the, any actual impacts to the project. So we're going to keep them whole and on schedule as planned. Yeah, I think I realize that the amounts we're talking about actually is, so on the screen, we had option 2 shows 555,531. So it's actually just reduced by 50. So it would be 505,531 in FY29. And then adding a 50,000 amount into FY29 for parachute. And that would be, yeah, that's what I think you're suggesting.
Correct. Any other questions or comments? Would like to take a vote on this. Is there a motion to? Thank you. Thank you.
Say it was Jim.
Jim.
Jim and other things.
You were clear, the motion is to adjust the awards as agreed upon.
Correct. That's correct. Thank you for the clarity. Any other questions, comments? Right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Great. Thank you. Thanks for that. And thank you, Michael.
Yep.
And with that, Jesse, I think the best thing is for you to come and sit in this chair. Okay.
Sorry about that. Morning, everyone. I'm Jessie Spencer. I do planning in LA support or planning support in LA projects for CDOT Region 3. And I'm going to talk about our 10-year plan today. So our first slide here, I'm just going to mention a little bit, kind of give a reminder of where we've been so far through our process. So as you know, we've been on a journey for our long range plan. We've had a series of 4 or 5 meetings leading us through that long range plan. And now we are going to drill it down into our 10-year plan. And so that brings us down to that green box on the bottom left-hand corner to get us down to that section. So currently we're in a transition in our 10-year plan going from where we were at 2019 into the 2027 plus, and then moving forward from our 2027 into the excuse me, I lost my place. 2027 moving forward. So our 2019 plan, it was broken down into 2 separate 4-year chunks. This plan is going to be broken down into a 4-year and then what we're going to call out year plan, which is the 6 years moving forward after that. The goals that we hope to achieve with this are going to be driven from our policy directive 14, PD 14. And the things we're going to achieve with that is going to be advancing transportation safety, fix our roads, and sustainably increase transportation choice. The difference between the current plan we're working through and the one we're going to transition into is that the fix our roads piece is what we've added into our next 2-year plan that we're about to move into. So just to continue talking about our goals, we had our draft project list was due by July 11th of 2025. And then we have to have our final project list due in by September 2nd of 2025. Again, our PD 14, we just mentioned those policy directives. We have shown all of our TPR chairs, our 10-year plan, and that was done on July 7th. So they have all seen that moving as we're moving into this. CDOT is committed to delivering all or as many as we can, all of your projects in the current 10-year plan. And then we are, of course, adding new projects to the 10-year plan as well as our grandfathered projects. So based on current estimates of both state and federal funding, the planning control totals for all state strategic funding for fiscal years 2027 to 2036 is 225 million for each fiscal year. And that is a state total per year. And that starts in fiscal year 2027. So that is an estimated 900 million in strategic funds available for the 4-year prioritized plan. And then in the out years, and again, that's the last 6 years, that'll be available 2031 through 2036. An estimated 1.35 billion in strategic funds is available. And then the 10-year plan funding represents only a portion of CDOT's budget. We of course still have other funds available. So our Region 3's distribution target, again, this just shows our statewide versus our Region 3 in the top right-hand corner. And then also down at the bottom, the long list there, that shows what we had previously and then what we're moving into. So I know it kind of looks like as we're moving out, you can see 132 million going up into 198, and it looks like we have an increase, but we do not, because you have to remember we're going from the first 4 years, then being broken down into 6 years after that. So we are not trending up. So this is each region broken down. Of course, we're just going to focus on Region 3, but right off the top, Mustang takes off the top statewide. So I do want to mention that first. And then Region 3 gets 15%, 15.07 of the planning control total. So again, for the first 4 years, we get 132 million. And then for the last 6 years or the out years, we get 198 million. Again, this shows by TPR. Obviously, we're focusing on Intermountain today, but I do want to point out that Bell Pass is getting 50 million right off the top. So for Intermountain specifically, you guys are getting 40%. So for the first 4, you will be getting 32,800,000, and then for the last 6, you'll be getting 79,207,000. And these are constrained totals.
Jesse, or maybe
Sure.
The reason for the downward trend, I mean, the multiple reasons, or is it?
Ryan is asking the reason why there is a downward trend in multiple years of funding.
Correct. Just based on the forecast that we. So everything that we first years. This is wrong machine funding. It's not just one funding source. Not all those funding sources. Back that one slide. First time we went through the 10-year cycle. Oh, they were projecting. Time about 2 years, 6, 7, 8. We were maybe the last 10-year cycle. So you can see big challenge.
Let me just repeat what you. I'm very much summarizing what you just said. The numbers are projected and they're just forecasted and they are declining much faster than anticipated because we have too many projects and a lot of those are being carried forward. Did I get that right? Okay. How do I summarize this? I feel like one of our overdoing this.
See this? You don't go to this. You can still.
We don't know if in 10 years, 225 million will still be there. It could be on the decline.
I mean, it's doing math, it looks like a big, like, it's a decline, plus the million really has. Like, there's, for instance, IMTPR is 8.2 for the first 4 years, and then 30.2 for the next 6. It actually isn't anything, it's just, they'll pass from on the top. Makes the total not pretty increase. Yeah, kind of thought they're big, but, so, once you break it down into two. First one, yeah. 50 million, we already borrowed for, so we went to commission a couple of years ago. I thought last project is work out right now. Get that delivered. Yeah. Now we're out of the great out there sooner, 2 years sooner, there's a good thing. But now we're that's it's already. Further opportunities, and I'll also cover change the shape as well. So you work over there. Out. All. 40%. We're gonna change. I don't say sort of, not to the other. You properly change the chairs to the yards. Into the percentage. We find the answer technically must be up as is in the you're not something you are likely to do relatively soon. I mean, the big one is the overall level available for each of the fee. It's kind of down, it's not like fair. It's not just region 3, it's out of the whole. That's right. The cost of our projects are going up, less and less and less. We've got a funding problem. It's markets in the region, it's a bigger funding problem, and we're trying to address this. This is big. Actually, the guy from my folder was a head of the CDOT, first, I don't know. Yeah, when he was there, he was, it's a quiet crisis. We've been talking about a quiet crisis now. 20 years. But overall, we probably have to do. And this is not all work, right? Still not our this is just this. Anything else?
Yeah, any other questions about this specifically? Does anyone online have questions? Okay. So this slide right here depicts the first 4 years
of the 10-year plans for the projects. Specifically, obviously it shows all of the TPRs, but your Intermountain projects are listed. Those projects include I-70 Garfield Interchange, I-70 Glenwood Canyon, State Highway 9 Safety Shell Bluffs, State Highway 139, and US 24 safety efforts. All of these projects came from your tier 1 list, and we got as many as we could into. Yes.
What's the intent in breaking it up into 4 and 6 years? Is it going to be a plan update after 4 years? What's the motivation behind that?
You can go and do it.
We have to do our orders. So we do the 10-year plan, it's like last time. We do the first 4 years, second 4 years, the remaining 2 years. That's why that remaining 2 years right now, transition periods, it's not without. We're just going to go and for the second to forward first. So I are maybe I would say plan. Take 10-year plan. The update, it would be a minor update, basically explanation, you've already laid out projects. It will be this, one guys, the dollars are still there, the projects are still priorities. It's basically checking the whole.
And then on the next slide, if you please. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Some of those project descriptions on certain, the Garfield County interchange, which one is that? I think it's both. Oh, okay. Or maybe even all three, might be there's some work. It's anticipated in Parachute. Work that was already started in Newcastle as well as work in Silk. Project maintenance. So. It's horrible. That was the biggest shocker, isn't it? I know.
Yeah,
There's kind of my issue with this list, I think, with a lot of. We're putting here in the dark, anywhere in the moment.
And I had a kind of similar question about the Canyon project. How much of the improvement will we get in the Canyon or what should be excited?
That's what I was going to right. So. But it doesn't have to other points, so the all the sort of street response to that, to front project. Not sure exactly, but I'm. Absolutely. Time people forget it. Basically. And I can make it so good. Most of these jobs are. Trying to figure out what to do with that. It's good. What if I need to change this, try to put it down. Which one is it's not. It's not. Good questions. Yeah. I think it's maybe that question can, so, for example, West London, version of West London, something is, you know, funny for hospital quarter. Is that maybe as a seed money or municipalities, like some other state, is that kind of way to say I guess one of my concerns. You get a past situation where the costs are I mean something that speaking. It wasn't the juice wasn't worth the and second what conversation we have See what it says, spreadsheet, but on this community, so you can. I don't know. Yeah, your duties for this is more. You're still there, available. You can some of those things. Trying to come home. It may be, so. But maybe we can be prepared. I am so happy. Thank you. We're trying hard to you know, to well, and then there's our, conversation. Here, we're putting the money. Another things are so huge. You like them, you know, see right there, all the things. Different approach, yeah. Here, trying to spread the money out, this is again, take the damage. Start, it's on 2 new plans, and it's not going to be. Hope for something else. They should. Bring something.
So for folks online, we're talking about. There's just not enough money for all of the projects that we have in our region. And that we need to be aware of the numbers assigned to each one of these projects and look at those ever so often. And hope that we get more money.
Everybody wants direction, love to hear. I think you. Everybody in this room has got projects. And we're going to. That's the only thing that's not about the really. Being part of it, we sure want. We want to see lots of.
And folks online, if you, Jason is asking if you don't think that these projects were a good representation of the funding that we have, please speak up. Come off mute if you're on mute.
I guess I would go off with a question. We have 3 interchanges in Mercury County. We all know the interchange costs. That's the entire thing. Is it even a whole? I mean, yes, I'm very happy that Garfield County interchange is on the list. Is it even realistic? Put those projects on the list when we know I'm going to get an extra 150 feet of asphalt on one over my interchange. for safety. Is it worthwhile to have that contract? Yes. I mean, I would like to say yes, but from a realistic standpoint, in terms of what we're gonna be able to fund, are we better off funding other projects that could actually get it out of there? But I know it's politics, but I'll add another one. I shoot me, but I really give a rip about sustainability, increase in transportation choices. We need highways, interchanges. We spread the money out that we get from all these other additions. You don't have enough money to do the basic infrastructure you just doesn't have. You're in trouble. So, what you kind of take. First, it is, it's not replacing the change. It will, her strategy is those bridges, some. Well, we'll beat that criteria. So I can afford bridge enterprise funds, but actually the price is too much. So for now, we're looking at operational improvements, and that's it. So is it, extending grant? Is it getting a grant, a whole rating? It's more operational, it's some of the type of things.
Well, and a little bit tongue in cheek, you gotta be present, you gotta have your stuff on the list or be considered a program for funding, so even recognizing that funding isn't necessarily there. Just have to be present, you have to show up.
And that's my point, whenever I go to ask for grants, whatever, they ask me it's on the table. It's on the table, plan, if you're not, you then get somebody say, all right, we're only getting some.
We're talking about,
For other sources, once we're on that plan, then.
we're talking about the importance of having your projects on the 10-year plan and showing up, because when folks are going after additional funding, even if you have your project on this list for just $1, that's what they're gonna ask you.
And then go back and this I can't go change this list of nothing at so if it's on there, where it's on. You don't go there, so it's not really so beautiful. You could change it stuff. But if you want to add something in the future, isn't it? Well, process. So that's where the math strategy, put projects on there, sitting on nothing. My board happens to come with something. It's pretty easy. Railroad is now.
Sure. The next slide is a repeat of what we just saw, but it's for the 6-year plan, or for the remaining 6 years of the 10-year plan. The specific projects put on this 6 years was the I-70 Vale Phase 1, Package 6, I-70 Glenwood Canyon Critical, I-70 US 6 State Highway 9 and Silverthorne, State Highway 9 Hoosier Pass, and I-70 Garfield Interchange improvements. And again, these are still from your Tier 1. And as a reminder, if you want to have a reminder of what those Tier 1 projects were, they're on, for those that have a handout, on the next page. Over, if you just need to look at that.
I have one question about the package 6. Is that fill the gap? That's part of it. There's not order. So if you look real close, phase 1, package 6, it doesn't. Phase 1, which are about to go. Most of them. Let's make that happen. What like is phase 1 here? You guys worked on some of the things before I wasn't.
Sure, so we didn't that that's. Jump around, games. Action. I hope that's. That's section. Thank you. This is the first time I've project. I'm also curious, what is the component of? So, presumably the major package. Where everything lays down and, $8.
How much did you say package 6? And this is, what is this bail pass? Phase 1, package 6, you said the total is what?
Yes. 100.
100 or 110 million.
That, then. Yes, and that's important. The side of the house, the scope. These are already. It's starting in ending grade. And everybody have that. Let's be. Put back to 60. How much?
Yeah. The ones that is a rough, sure, yeah. There were slopes and of course. You're bound to how you put past and plan in the future. If there's something there, so you have opportunities. That's something along. It's hard. Well. I think it's really about. Maybe break your expectation. But it's just about expectation.
And then just one more slide, just as a reminder of what the tier one projects were for those online. Here you already have that in hands. And that's where we pulled the previous 2 pages we've already looked at, your first 3 years and the last 6. That's where your Intermountain projects came from for that tenure. plan that came from that tier one. So even though we've done a lot of discussing, I'll ask again, because that's our last slide. Are there any questions or discussions anymore we'd like to have regarding the 10-year plan?
I have one.
Yes.
On your fifth slide, kind of noting there that CDOT is committed to delivering all projects in the current 10-year plan. So what we did though, we carried a lot of those over. Basically what we said was in the 10-year plan and hadn't seen any activity, we felt that it was probably important enough to be in the new 10-year plan. So how do those two, I guess there's got to be some kind of relationship between those two, because a lot of our projects fall in the floor.
We had grandfathered projects. We carried over grandfathered projects and then added.
Oh. And is that a true statement? Are they gonna get finished before, I mean, are those? The commitment to think completing them, is that someone take that for the bank, so to speak? I'm not trying to paint anybody into a corner, but, you know, can we rely on that statement? That's part of the.
Maybe that's the language. To the best of our ability, CDOT is committed to finishing the projects that were on the past 10-year plan. Limited ability, like that. Do folks online have any questions about the project list here? I know this is the first time you're seeing it, so Brian, I don't know if we want to give folks a little bit of time to look at this before.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
They've seen the long range priority list before. So,
Mhm.
I mean, this is the first round.
I'll send out these slides to everybody at the end of the meeting and give you all like a week to make any final comments on this. Is that okay?
Yeah, so the priority list has been approved. We don't need to do anything.
Right, right.
Any questions, comments?
Yeah, we'll give you guys a week to ask any final questions or comments about this list.
No. No, and I do apologize. I did miss one slide. I'm sorry. It's 13, surface treatment for Intermountain. I do apologize. So this does show other projects with other funding sources available. So as you can see, this spreads out FY 26 into FY 30. And these are all Intermountain projects, as you can see. Sorry.
And for the most part, on that slide 13, those surface treatment projects, they're funded. This is our
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Now I'm late. Thanks, Jesse. You're welcome.
Right. So running ahead of schedule for John, I'd like you to come up here, so we'll online, if someone's been hanging there this long. Give us a presentation about the bill pass. And just so I make sure I understood, Tom was requesting something that like show us about the role of the pass, is that something, I'm not sure I heard.
I'm just, I want an accurate description. It's happening with the pass. It's not going to be finished. But the package 6 steel. It's gonna be self-packaged. And then frame the community's expectations about how much it's going to cost. I think, at least in my style, that knowledge is maybe that's the real story. Yeah, I think it's Greg Hall probably involved. But, you know, Greg's gone, so now the rest of us. And well, Tom should go. I started talking to Tom, I'm like, is that enough to finish the gap or not, you know, and I think, that's just useful for all of us, right, it's a very hot work. And, you know, all know it's not getting done, these things, not getting completed, these things, but what is it gonna take? I don't think any of us can help solve that problem, you know.
Well, and how much of the problem that is Vail Pass is this fixing?
Yeah, and I would say considering the letters, conversations that you're not probably having done CR. Hey, remember all those letters about doing one time a year. Here's a big problem. They're having two problems. Exactly. Really problem. I'm happy to provide any updates to any community. It's just like.
Folks online want updates on Vail Pass, you can invite John from CDOT to talk to your town councils.
So is it, John, I'm just. Sure, you're here, so. My understanding of not asking for, is that actually asking for something for some sort of community to explain it thoroughly, the current condition, the current status of the pass, and those improvements, money and timeline on this. Is that something that you put together? Or not?
Well, sure, absolutely. I can answer as many questions as I know. I don't know more about the funding other than the 26 million. So that I can't answer that from my that's fine, but yeah. More the question about how much money. Sure. And I'm trying to make it easy on John, Dr. Greg, did this counselor. I mean, he lives in my community. Easy to drag, but you know, we got like a fact sheet, basically, what's the status of things? What's it look like going forward? I think that is lighting to. Yeah, but I think we're coming back and saying, well, there is money allocated. Yeah, we're going to be things that.
So if we want to get part of this. Seven. Yeah, go back and make the sheets. What's the bigger picture? You can discuss how that simply, or is that in that document? You'll get that.
I mean, what it's worth, I think, having a bigger picture. I would agree.
So it's all put that thing on my right. It's in writing. It's unreal. I looked at it 10 years ago. It's in writing. Somebody might have told me.
I face the same problem. But the other side of that is I want to continue with my. How much or how much?
Thank you. Sure. Now for the reason.
So the reason, was just some high level, it's gonna be brief, overview, some of the projects, in program east, area. Starting with the Straight Creek Culvert repair, so this is a stretch of I-70 from Eisenhower down to the Silver River. And it's primarily a culvert repair project. All of the culverts on Straight Creek and Bell Pass, they're all essentially failing. They're at the end of their lifespan. And we actually had just recently a single on Bell Pass down at the bottom. That the good news is that nobody was aware of it because we got it fixed and the interstate didn't fail, but it was the result of a pretty and the roads, the wall. Next project would be Bell Pass that we're just talking about. So this summer, what we see up there is the head of the detour, and that's so that we can construct and pave the third lane, which they have just started third lane, so in the uphill eastbound direction of the top to that run over so pass, as well as some of the wildlife and underpasses there. Up and down the pass, you'll see periodic areas of shoulder closures, and those are for new cameras that are being installed. And this project is slated to be completed at the end of 2026. So next year, we'll start traffic over for another head-to-head on the road we just built, and be able to finish curve corrections and the rest of the underpasses. Under construction right now, as well as Colorado is 82. This one's running from the intersection of 24, just past the Twin Lakes.
John, can I ask a question back from Bill first? What is the kind of the nature of the work in terms of impacts to travelers? Is it 24 hours a day or maybe just at night? What's the nature?
We are mostly following lane closures, which we try and avoid and peak hours. So right now, for the month of July, you really can't have lane closure in the uphill direction, much as the farm. So that's why we have the head of the detour, is so that we can do all of this paving offline. So the work you see right now is all the road construction is all offline. The detour essentially remains in place, and which is possible. On the westbound side, the traffic factors aren't as severe, and less R2 you simply drives. But we allow lane closure essentially 24/7 in the westbound. So going down. We did have traffic holds for one, and that was for rock scaling operations who pick rocks on the side of narrows. The contractors are changing their means of methods a little bit, but it sounds like the next traffic will be July 28th. All day, telecom. When ferry all the materials from their staging area to other to them on the plate. April area to September, then in September we'll start up. But it could change.
If I could just add, maybe there is an option to sign up for tweet alerts. To give you updates, to give you updates on the construction, bothered by a daily text message. I signed up for it, I can find it from the store. I can directly by every once in a while. Not have back-to-back traffic. So I said, between Floyd Hill and Bell Pass, probably but I can find those text message that works for me. Yeah, we can do that. Yeah. Great, thank you.
Thanks, Dave. Some of the other notable design projects underway now. 203 interchange reconstruction. Design is wrapping up, construction is planned for 2026.
Thank you. The East Vale Pass Wildlife Crossings, the design is underway, but there's no structure in it. Gypsum the Eagle resurfacing, that was just a asphalt overlay, construction's planned in 2026. Chain station, safety improvements, so this is the chain station, just before 180 interchange, so eastbound, climbing up out of Vale. We have $1 million for design on that one, so that is underway. We'll have an extensive stakeholder process similar to Vale has involving emergency services, but Vale and other interested stakeholders. The Main Vale Wildlife Project is designed and construction is still for 2027. State Highway 9 Green Mountain Reservoir, construction is planned in 2028. Resurfacing, shoulder widening for geohazards. The Breckenridge resurfacing is planned for 2027. The Red Cliff, Highway 24 Red Cliff Bridge rehabilitation. This is a newer project. The green truss that holds the bridge up has some, it's rusting a little bit from inside, so there's some section loss. So it's hopefully rehabilitation of the bridge, but the design is underway and I believe that will be funded by the bridge until any projects. Highway 24 Mountain Gulch resurfacing project, construction in 2029. The Highway 82 and 24 roundabout has some challenges in railroad planning. So it's delayed. And one project that we left off of here is another Highway 24 North project that will have construction in 2026. And there's a series of chain stations that have been improving and installing. Those are all the projects in the place we have.
I just got these, so I'll send them out in all the notes. Yeah.
I think I'll start the first project. Project. Said you're constructing the sun. Construction. For next year, or see activity out there right now. That's just really what going on. There's already working. So I already started our projects, so our work. Artificial. Roadway improvements.
Please, I don't have curious. You're quite a distance in placing lots of work it says on bullets. Curious is like, are they all failed, bottom rotted out? Kind of curious about the extent of them. Sure. Yeah. So this one's not my project, but I'm familiar with the culvert failures. So all of the culverts installed back in the 70s reported pipes, and I believe there was a picture of the failures. So any culvert on Elton has straight that actually has water on it regularly, they fail. So the bottom rots out, and it can be from the steep grades of the pipe, it could be from all the extraction state, it could be from and chloride. The bottom of the pipe rusts out, so the corrugations go first. Then the pipe, instead of being round, turns into more of like a keyhole. Then the water starts piping and then you get a single. The water goes around the pipe.
My further question, I think that you were say that is, I'm gonna see not get more money for actual maintenance, because that's the deferred maintenance. All the liners that you got like once every 10, 15 decades. Because you don't have to do these major repairs, you're talking about millions of dollars of people. I'm kind of curious when we catch back up on all the deferred maintenance, so I spend massive amounts of money. So that we can have more money in the items in the garden, more than some projects.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's why I start to fail, my whole line everything, record situation, it functions for another 10 years, 20 years. Of course,
after replacement tire pole. It's extremely expensive. So the original culvert failure, the big one, shut down the industry. Days. Started the state's critical culvert program, and we started inspecting all of our culverts that are greater than 24 inches. And then some access control towards that. Just recently, our region was given, I don't know, it's 27 million for this exact purpose to go out and fix it. So that funding is being used here, as well as extra 2 million of our ads to fix some of the other. I guess.
It's not, this isn't a shot.
Yeah, no.
That's right, it's bringing up a great point. I can talk all day long about our meeting, but it hasn't come, nobody's come back, and water sealed it, or replace any of the cracks in the lines. Yeah, we do that in the year. I feel like deferred maintenance is, you can see that's our assets. It's, we can show you presentations and that's location values. I get $2 million and a tire. That is $2 million. So over replacement costing anywhere from $1,000 to $500,000. So I don't get any culverts done. They're all linked to the same. Most of our culverts are brown. So we're starting to drop off that curve. It's going to become more critical.
But I think to Matt's other points though, is there some kind of a engineering prohibition, I guess, with CDOT to not line them? And you replace them, or do you line them? We do line them, however, some of them are in such bad condition, there's nothing, there's nothing, where it's in the first line.
And that's the point. We should be doing this. We've been doing lines for years, this is very freaky. So, right now. So we're trying to get it, everything for us down the bottom, but again, I want to keep it up. Here, once again, it's not CDOT, so I want to pull money from, it says a different location, for maintenance, back up. For maintenance, down 15 to 20 years, and you just spend 10 times more than what it 10 years ago, then all of a sudden, it's money to build that, at that moment, it's less. Could have done 10 years. It's as simple as saying exactly. The money that you're seeing we're spending right now, is still $7 billion. That was 2 years ago, distribution funds, they had to see that. It was roughly 65 billion from state bottom, unfortunately, 27 billion, but 60, so a larger chunk of it. Our team did a great job of showing issues with our code, tracking it, and making it 3-4-1. We're spending that money now, so that's why you're seeing 100 projects. 27 billion, that's 13 years. Part of it I got in addition to what part of it. So it's a huge shock for me. It's great. Still, I'm doing. I don't put it. I don't have music. I don't have to. Maybe mine will not get off. They're not money for a year. All of a sudden, out of the town and getting off. But he's on the tail on. Money away. I said. It was not fair. I mean, you guys probably didn't know I was going to happen. It was. Well, it's going. Was 6 weeks. But we had to work around and post it going out on the house. It's like musician. Luckily, they're not up there during inspection. It's in college. Well, say here, brought into the work. He's out with a shovel and he started moving water and then diverted. Noticed them. Oh, you know, because he's out there and on it, with all started out about maintenance team of what's in care of. So fortunate enough, there was something that for project limits in the town.
Back to the page of roll, I don't have to go easy. It's amazing. And like I said, obviously, not a great question. It's not our exact question, but the guys possibly place all the IMTPR because they're money being pulled away. Put into things that you get fix the wildlife, you have the money to fix them, you go fix the wildlife. Class, gotta look at shovel, or we can start to think about it. And so what can we do to help you? What are other funds that revenue? I've had this conversation with Sean, like we have to close gas lights in the United States and most roads. Most difficult ones to do is like, what is some of this stuff having these conversations? Maybe we do it over and over and again, we're not going to restore. You say, you're trying to do a little. I don't, all the businesses, you make to society is the other. What's? I know we can, you need a beer, but I mean, nails gone, not for me, any of the questions. Thank you. And at the risk of talking more about lack of funding, are there partner updates that we'd like to make with around the ring?
Sure. We're gonna do partner updates, so if anybody online has an update about your agency, feel free to contact me.
Great. Pretty further updates here. Keystone is here. On we are starting work on our first segment of pathway along Highway 6. Between the intersection of probably Hudson bus stop, have a lot. Avenue Drive, Highway 6. Hopefully this will be a small section rather than people. Probably black hats and black jackets and St. Gail are one of the number one favorite projects in Boston. It's considered that has funding and what we are in design and concept design and trying to 80 million next year. Likely utilizing some of that CDOT funding, town funding, transit funding to move that towards the facilities. Great. Something that is actively going on. Yeah. Southern County's doing Swan Mountain Road, which is a massive project. To get money from his grant, which needed so badly, we just decided to go ahead and start on our own doing full repair, but we're going to take piece by piece of and then we're looking at an RTA. Starting the process. Some state. Very quick, section Swan, you guys know, right now we're doing it from the campground back towards the east on the side, but it's just sort of around the corner. I mean, we're doing like 6 billion at a time. It's really pretty, not huge. We were hoping to get $20 million from the Fed when the raise grant was $1.3 billion. You get the debt of 100 million to the whole country, so it's most 20. Are you closing it to do work? We've already done one closure, we've been doing some plain closures, we did one full closure, can we do another full closure and we've actually have seen that this was DMS Highway 6 side, so people don't, drive 100 yards in and wow. Line. It's in DC and, I'll just say, you know, been driven basically here at Grand Junction, you'll notice a lot of spots, a lot of other states. Maybe you guys can do to help spread the word, people, and changes. It seems to be brought that up, but you could understand California. So California, for instance, fireworks. Not a problem. So basically, the ground where the wet side fire. Yeah, it's definitely a different setting, for sure. But from the fire control standpoint, similar response. I've never seen that. Yes, it's honestly. We're bringing up a lot of our infrastructure. Other than that, we was yes, they look at great meeting. Basically, we got the last week of it. I think we'll be able to see a presentation to snap. For yeah, some that situation. Parts about the there's a small information across the city. Very good. We'll be on the road to forecast. Yeah. Should air this out. I was gonna say that I would be 24 raised buildings that were water. So the lack. We'll try. What would be the nice on South Bridge drawings, beginning May since September, October. They're getting the process of hiring right away. Very small announcement at this point. Both seem to be pretty stable, small, actually, on the projects. So we are looking forward to that. We still have no idea. But we'll push as far as we can to figure it out. Yeah, we have three things. One is, Pickett County received a highway safety improvement grant for an intersection, Speedway, Highway 2. These are the main highway. The critical thing here is we're going to be installing the first, it's called Michigan Left.
Those are the best. I grew up in Michigan and I miss those.
Basically, right now, we've got a lot of traffic turning left across oncoming traffic and there's two lanes. Michigan Left, as you drive by the intersection, you take a left, you merge back into traffic, and you take a right on the direction we're trying to head. So it just eliminates that T-bone probability. That was a data extensive of 25%. So it's good, perfectly effective, so we're going to be installing them. Second thing is in 2027, we have the portal. So this is a big deal for our community. Access is going to be. No, but it's impact. Close for the year or 2027. So it's to move. And left off, it wasn't here for. It's just to move the runway and widen the runway. Similar to the for private jets, it's hard to. Thank you. If you ask our current economy for it, they'll tell you it's a part of private. They're already starting to make us. So that's big. The third thing is we are in the process of purchasing 27 acres from CDOT, which is the Western Parking Hub. Prime land. Quick land deed has been signed by the Transportation Commission. So it looks like a transfer is going to happen, picking them $10 for 27 acres. So it's a fairly big deal. Thank you. That's come with the deed restriction. The land can only be used for transportation purposes, will not be required to everyone. So I think it's the Walmart property. Not a lot to talk about as far as road surface concerned, vertical camera, just on a kind of a maintenance program. But to go back to Jason's point about the wildfires, I think we've had fire in Garfield County almost weekly since about the 4th of July. That's cheaper our team, our Gordon Bridge team. They are being called out for mutual aid, and now they're to the point where they're just they go out with the paper trip and spray the sides of the right of them, keep them open to them. Back to the business, so it's a pretty challenging fire. That stage 2 fire restriction. Well, with that, there are motions to adjourn. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody online.
17.